Hey everyone, welcome to Ericom Software Seminar about secure remote access without SSL VPN. My name is Mendy Newman. I am the VP of Customer Success at Ericom. I'm responsible for all our worldwide customer engagements. I want to thank you for taking your time out of your busy days to join us here for a few minutes this morning, or maybe this afternoon, depending on where in the world you happen to be. Just a few housekeeping items. The seminar will run about 20-25 minutes. At the end, of course, I'll leave time for questions. If at any time during the session you have any questions, feel free to put them into the chat window in the WebEx chat window, and I can address them as we speak, or I'll address them at the end of the call. Otherwise, we'll pause at the end or at different parts to take any questions again via chat. Just to keep the session moving. Okay, so as I said, I'm Mendy Newman. I'm with Ericom Software. Let me just give everyone a brief introduction to Ericom Software. For those of you who are not familiar with us, Ericom Software is not a startup. Ericom Software has been in business for over 25 years. We have offices in the States, in New York City. We have offices in London. We have offices in the Middle East. We have offices in Europe. We have over 30,000 customers worldwide for many of our different software solutions that we've produced over the last 25 years. And we're a privately held company, approximately 100 employees worldwide. Our customer base over the years ranges basically from every industry, from government, finance, education, you name it. There's some industry or government agency or corporation out there who has used one or many of Ericom products. Just a little bit of the history of the company, so you know where we came from and where we are today. So Ericom actually started 25 years ago in the mainframe access business, so helping companies provide access to their end users to green screens, the old green screens, AS400, IBM mainframes, etc. And from that, we've progressed over the years. About 15 years ago now, actually, we branched out to also work on the Windows side of the world, Windows virtualization, Windows access, which is what we'll talk about here today. Just to make you aware, in the last couple of years, we've also expanded our product line to include a number of products in the cybersecurity field in terms of browser isolation and browser security. So if that's interesting to you as a company, that's something we can follow up and have further discussions about the Ericom products in the cybersecurity world. But today, we're going to talk about remote access, okay? And that's what we call access done right. Just a little bit of a pat on the back about Ericom's products from the marketplace and the various analysts. IDC calls us a major player in the virtualization or remote access industry. Ovum says that browser-based access, which is what we're going to talk about here, provides a really powerful tool. So our products are well known. Our products have received the coverage that they deserve and have been used by many large organizations, as we'll talk over the next few minutes. So let's jump right in, okay? So when we talk about remote access, we talk about SSL VPN access, and who are we talking about? What kind of users are we discussing that need access remotely? As we know, as one of our colleagues here at Ericom says, work is no longer a place you go to, right? Work is a frame of mind or something you do. In the old days, we used to go to the office. Nowadays, in 2018, not everybody, maybe even most people, don't actually go to an office, or maybe don't go to an office all the time, or maybe are working on weekends or working evenings, working mornings, as we know, working from vacation. Many of us are consultants. We're out on the road at customer sites. Wherever we are and whatever we're doing, we are constantly needing access to corporate resources. Not all corporate resources are available on our laptops. Not all corporate resources are available in publicly accessible web fashion. Some of us maybe have access to a CRM on the web, Salesforce or otherwise. But even companies that have that, often that access to those web-based systems is restricted to internal access from within the corporate network, obviously for security concerns. So when I'm on the road and I'm outside the corporate network, how do I get remote access? How can I make sure that we have a business continuity plan in place. So no matter where my users are, no matter what they're doing, no matter what platform they're on, they can get access to the corporate network and keep doing their business as they need to. So what do they actually need access to? When we talk about remote access, sometimes we're talking about simply access to an office desktop. Maybe each user has a physical desktop or a virtual desktop within the corporate environment, and when they're out on the road or out of the office, they need to get access to that physical desktop. Maybe it's just a shared terminal server environment. So, users have their laptops, but if they want to get access to corporate environment, internal corporate resources, for many security reasons and scalability reasons, we might be forcing them to log on to a terminal server. How do we go ahead and give access to that? It might not be access to full-blown desktops. Many users don't need a full desktop, a Windows desktop. They just need access to the corporate CRM system, the ERP system. Maybe even email is locked down to only be provided from internal access. Or in large organizations, there might be all kinds of custom applications, whether that be financial applications, design applications, different types of applications that we use around the corporate environment that require us to get access remotely. So when I'm working at home and I want to continue working on a project that has a deadline tomorrow, and I need access to my 3D CAD design system, which obviously I'm probably not keeping on my laptop or don't have installed on my home network, how can I remotely access that? And what are the tools available to me today? Making it just ever more complicated, of course, is the devices that end users are using. In the old days, we could pretty much rely that most end users are using some sort of Windows-based system, whether it was Windows XP or whatever it might be. And maybe we would rely on typical VPN-based systems where we send the user home with a disk or a disk on key, install some complicated VPN software, troubleshoot it over a couple of weeks on their home computers, and then finally they're able to hopefully and reliably, connect to the corporate network from their home computer. Well, that's the old days. In 2018, you can't rely on that. First of all, you don't even know if they have a Windows machine. Maybe they have a Mac. Maybe they have a Chromebook. Maybe they want to access it from their web TV, from their smart TV. They want to access the corporate network. Obviously, they could be on a mobile device of any sort and flavor, whether that be Android, whether that be iPhone, iPad. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, the users cannot be forced or expected to use specific devices when they want to access the remote network. The world of BYOD, of bring your own device, especially in the home environment, obviously, demands that as IT professionals, we find solutions to allow our users to get access to the corporate network securely, of course, as we'll discuss, but from any device that they happen to have available to them. Of course, if we could do that with zero installation, with minimal fuss, all the better. Every minute on the phone for an IT person, especially for remote users, is often at night, is often on weekends, is often on off work hours, and those are times when we don't want to have to be supporting end users. Of course, layered on top of all of that as IT professionals is the #1 concern we have with remote access, which is security. How can we make sure that when our users are in a hotel in Milan and they want to access from the business center the corporate network because they have some sort of deadline or customer request that just came up, how can I make sure they do that securely? And how can I make sure they do that without leaving any footprint of any corporate network environment on that computer, which that might not even be theirs? It might be a public computer, might be an internet cafe, might be a laptop, it might be an iPad. What if they access from an iPad and the iPad gets stolen? Is there any corporate data that's remaining on that iPad that I have to be concerned about? Security in 2018 is our highest concern. And with remote access, it's only all that much more multiplied. Additionally, obviously, the cost, not just physical cost, but the cost of support and the cost of administration. How difficult is it to set it up? When you put together an SSL VPN solution, for instance, or a full-blown VPN solution that maybe is running off your firewall, from the various different firewall vendors, and they're all great and they all do a great job. But how complicated is it for a user to actually get through that firewall and connect either with a VPN or SSL VPN? Is it fast? Does it require a number of different steps? Does it require them installing Java, which they might not have, or maybe have the wrong version, or maybe don't even know what Java is? Does it require them to use a specific browser? Maybe it only works in Internet Explorer, and some users maybe prefer Chrome, or maybe they don't even know what Internet Explorer is. You know, we've all seen those users. We're familiar with them. We understand that it's very hard to dictate those things to users, and it's very hard to troubleshoot when a user calls and says, I can't connect remotely. And then we have to start, you know, using tools like TeamViewer and AnyDesk and, you know, whatever the other remote access tools we have for troubleshooting to help understand why the user can't connect successfully to the corporate network. So we want to come up with a solution that provides us a product that provides us a solution to all those concerns. It'll give us easy remote access for end users. Preferably, it'll be clientless. It'll work from anywhere. And of course, it'll still be secure. Of course, it'll still have everything in place that we need to make sure that we can sleep at night and not worry that someone's compromising our network, but all done in a secure fashion. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to show you and talk to you about Ericom Connect. Ericom Connect has many different business use cases, and we'll discuss that a little bit at the end, but the business case obviously we're going to focus on here is remote access. And the beauty of Ericom Connect is that from an end user's perspective, it requires zero installation. When I say zero, I mean no Java, no ActiveX, no plugins, nothing. It's all fully web-based, browser-based, built on HTML5 standards that the end user can access from any browser, anywhere, at any time. Let me give you a demo at this point, and then we can continue on more detailed technical issues around and explanations. So I'm going to open up here my browser. This happens to be Chrome. This browser has nothing installed in it whatsoever, just a plain standard browser. Actually, I'm going to log out here. I see I was logged in already. And I'm going to go and actually access my corporate network. I'm actually not in my corporate office right now. And I'm going to access. So I've come here to our login page. This login page is going to ask me for username and password. Obviously, the username and password is based on Active Directory. Okay. If we want it to be extra secure, we can also integrate this with a two-factor authentication. Any of the basic Radius two-factor authentication systems, whether that be Duo or something else. And so after I put in my username and password, it would prompt me for that second authentication method. But in this demo, I don't have that set up. As soon as I log in straight in my web browser without having to install anything, it gives me a list of all the systems that I have access to as an end user. This could be desktops. This could be published applications. As you see over here, I can get access to Chrome, Excel, Outlook, etc. In our case, I'm going to access my desktop, so my Office PC. And when I click on my Office PC directly here in my web browser, without installing any software, no Java, no ActiveX, I can now see my desktop PC that's sitting in my office at my corporate headquarters. And this works like a regular standard desktop. I can do anything I need to do it within this desktop. I can browse, I can check my email, I can launch specific corporate applications. Whatever I need to do as an end user, I can get access here directly in my web browser. Now, it happens to be I'm working on a Windows machine here today, but it doesn't have to be Windows. It could work from an Android device. It could work from an iPhone. It could work from an iPad. It could work from a Chromebook. Anything which has a standard modern web browser, and that browser could be Chrome, that browser could be Firefox, that browser could be Internet Explorer, Safari, Opera, doesn't matter. You can get access to your corporate environment securely. Okay, you need at least a username and password. You need possibly even a second factor authentication. But the beauty of the system here is anything I now do here within this environment is only happening within the corporate network. What's coming down to my local machine is just a stream of images within my browser. Nothing is being stored locally on my machine. So even if someone stole this machine, stole my iPad, there's absolutely no data from the corporate network coming down to the local machine at all. You, as system administrators, have the ability to configure if you want to allow the users to download and upload files from the system. In this system, you see I have the ability to download and upload files, but that's configurable. You can turn that off per user. You have the ability to turn on or off copy-paste. You have the ability to turn on and off printing. So if you really wanted to lock it down, you could turn off all the external access, just allow the users to work within this desktop or application environment without giving them any ability to download any local files locally or print any files locally. A fully encapsulated, sealed environment. And the same would be true if I just wanted to publish an individual application. If I just want to publish an individual application, that would launch directly here within my web browser. Again, on any device. Okay. So this is the basic end user experience. Now, what I'm accessing here in this case happens to be a physical desktop. It could easily be a virtual desktop, a VDI environment. That VDI environment could be pooled desktops, so we just pick one randomly from the pool, or if you're associated with a specific desktop, it would give you access to that specific desktop. Both options are available to you as a system administrator when you make desktops available to end users. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation, and I can go through some. Actually, before I do that, I want to show you the administrative console. Let me just bring that up. So the administrative console here is all web-based, of course, secure web-based. It's running in a secure environment, running off the Connect environment here. Just taking a second to load. Apologize. A little bit slower than I want it to be, so I will access it from within my corporate environment, actually, and you can see how that looks. There we go. Okay, so I am now accessing browsing within my remote environment, and I can actually make that full screen so you can see what that looks like. So I am now connected to my corporate network, and I have accessed this administrative console, which is only accessible within the corporate environment. So you can see all the different servers. In this case, I have a couple of terminal servers connected to my environment. You could see the existing users who are connected to the system. So I can see all the different users that I've connected and when they connected to. I can obviously publish all kinds of resources to my end users, whether they be full desktops, virtual desktops, or individual published applications. I associate different users with groups of those applications so that every user only gets access to the desktops and or applications that they're supposed to get access to. I have the ability to control for each of those groups which session environments I want to turn on in terms of printing, in terms of file downloads, in terms of copy paste, et cetera. All that is configurable per groups of applications and per end users. And then, of course, on top of all that, I get detailed reports. So at any point in time, I can actually see who are the users who are connected to the system. When did they, I could see here a number of end user sessions. I can run a nice little report which will show me who connected when. This is obviously important from an ability and a security perspective. If I see someone connecting at 2 o'clock in the morning from a strange IP that I'm not familiar with, this might be something I want to take a look at. I can see each user that connected, where they connected from, what time they connected, when they disconnected, what applications they launched within that session, or what desktops they connected to. And of course, all fully exportable, as you need. But the key point here is that as a system administrator, I can rest assured that my access is secure. I can rest assured that no information is leaking out of the corporate network. And from an end user's perspective, I am not tied down to an individual device. I'm not tied down to any individual system that has software installed on it. I can use any system I want, anywhere I want, to get access to my corporate network. Okay. So getting back to just a couple more slides here. As we've said, we have ease of use for end users. We have always available from any device, mobile or otherwise. Controlled access, everything is fully auditable, so you know who's accessing the system when. A lot easier to install, manage, and much more cost-effective to administer than any SSL VPN system. And of course, it all comes with the standard web-based encryption. So everything you saw here was SSL. Everything you saw here was fully encrypted end-to-end from the end user's device to your corporate network. Let's take a little look at the architecture so you understand a little bit from a technical perspective how this all works. The end user devices that we're going to be accessing, the end user desktops, whether it be virtual desktops, physical desktops, are sitting within the corporate network. On each one of them, we install a small remote agent that basically allows us to track the status of the environment, and of course also allows us to make that available via HTML5. From the end user's perspective, they're accessing what we call the Ericom Secure Gateway, which normally sits in the DMZ in your environment. It is the only piece of this entire environment accessible directly from off your network, and that's accessible obviously via HTTPS 443. We do have customers who wrap that within an SSL VPN, so before you can even get to the gateway, they first make you connect to an SSL VPN gateway. So if you already have a Juniper in place or a Checkpoint in place or a Fortinet in place, you can actually integrate this entire system into there. One of our largest customers for this particular product is a large financial company in New York City who does exactly that. They have an existing SSL VPN in place. The users connect to that using whatever security controls they want. Once they get connected, they have a simple link within their browser which says connect to my desktop. And once you connect to my desktop, it then launches you via HTML5 the connection back to the user's, again, physical or virtual desktop as needed. Everything you see here from the end user web service to the right is all secure within the corporate network. The database, the reporting database, the administrative console, of course, all securely kept within the corporate network. Okay. Obviously, we support high availability, so we can scale this up to, to any level we want. Before we move on to the questions, just want to give you just a couple other business use cases of this same system. So we've talked obviously and focused on the remote access of it, but it also can provide other benefits once you have it in place. It could provide you clientless access to Windows apps. So if you have a corporate application that happens to be Windows-based and you want to make it web-based, before you go ahead and start rewriting it and however long that might take, this is an easy way to provide web-based access, browser-based access, to any Windows client server application. This also allows you to get, as we said, remote access. It allows you to migrate applications to the cloud. So if you're migrating all your databases and everything to the cloud, but you have a few Windows apps that you can't figure out how to put in the cloud or what you do with them in the cloud, well, this is the answer. You put them in the cloud, you give them access via the web-based system, and that would work as well. I mentioned before secure browsing. The Ericom Connect product can be used to provide a secure browsing environment. Although if you're looking for a secure browsing solution, I highly recommend you look at our newer product in the secure browsing environment called Ericom Shield, which is designed to provide total security around browser access to websites. So it provides a full isolation layer when users want to browse the public internet, that none of that public internet should come to their local browser, and it's all handled in a remote, isolated environment. So if you're looking for a secure browsing solution, Ericom Connect could be used for that, but Ericom Shield is really the product you want to look at. Okay, I've been talking here for about 25 minutes now, so I want to take a look at the questions that people have posted so I could address that. So I have a question here from a user about what's the difference between this and Access Now. Access Now, for those of you familiar with our Ericom product, Access Now is our core HTML5 technology. Access Now is what allows us, original Ericom product, which allowed us to run RDP within HTML5, so HTML5-based access to RDP sessions. Ericom Connect is a management wrapper and service, not service, but our management wrapper and product around the core Access Now technology. So Access Now actually provides the end user component so the user can see things, but Connect is what allows you as system administrators to manage it, to wrap it up, to publish it out to the end users, to report on it, and to control everything going on within that sessions. So the two products are actually one. Access Now is incorporated into the Connect system. Second question I have here is, how can you implement your technology to a Microsoft VDI environment or an RDS farm? Absolutely. So an RDS farm is slightly different, obviously, than a VDI environment. VDI in an RDS farm, Ericom Connect is built exactly for that. So we have a management server. Everything else is run off the terminal servers. so that the users can get access to any application and or desktops on the terminal servers. If you're also running a VDI environment, we can tightly integrate with the Microsoft VDI world as well, so that we can manage pools, we can spin up new pools, we can allow users to get access to desktops within those pools, all within the management of that environment. We're not a full VDI broker in terms of all the features you might need, but in terms of managing access to those pools, we can definitely provide that as well. Another question we have here, is it possible to force this technology only to home workers but not to users that are inside our premises? Yeah, that's up to you. Obviously, you know, if you're only publishing the access out via the gateway and the gateway is sitting in DMZ, we have customers who do that, and therefore it's only accessible from an external DNS. It's not accessible from the internal network at all. We can manage that. We can actually run different features of the system that can be turned on and off, whether the users are coming from internally or externally. So that's definitely something we can talk to you about in more detail to understand your use case and understand how that would work for you. Okay. Another question is here, does the Aerocom remote access server support mobile devices? If you're talking about access from mobile devices, the answer is absolutely yes. We have both a web-based access from those mobile devices, as well as we do have a client in the relevant Play stores called Access to Go. Access to Go will give you standard RDP access from any of your iPhone or Android devices, but of course, once it's integrated with the full Aerocom Connect system, when a user logs into the application, again, using their Active Directory username and password or two-factor authentication, it will give them access to all the desktops and applications that they would normally have access to via the browser-based system they can get in the mobile app as well. Last question I have here is, does it support DTLS or only SSL? We can support DTLS as well. We can lock down the secure gateway in any number of different ways to make sure it's using the certificates and the security encryptions and ciphers that you want in your secure environment. Question I have here is it possible to have a device access control for certain devices using MAC ID filtering? So MAC ID filtering is something that we have not yet fully implemented. It's definitely something that's on our roadmap, something that's in the development team's to-do list that I know they are working on. If that's something that's important for your environment, again, please be in touch, and we'll be happy to follow up and let you know when the release date for MAC IDs or certificate-based access would be. Okay, we're coming towards the close of the session. I know it's a lot of information that we discussed here in a very short amount of time. This is a short amount of time. I want to thank everyone for taking your time out from your busy days. This, of course, if you have further questions, please follow up with your Aerocom account manager. I'm sure someone will be in touch with you within the next short while, next few days, just to follow up and see if you have any further questions about using Aerocom Connect for remote access with or without an SSL VPN. Again, if you have any further technical questions, feel free to email us here at Aerocom, and we'll be happy to follow up. Get a demo installed in your environment, because that's the best way to see our software, is to go ahead and install it. Installing an Aerocom Connect system takes about an hour. It's not a 2-week process. It's about a 1-hour process. And within that short amount of time, you can easily see how easy it is to manage, how secure it is, and how much the end users will love you as IT professionals by giving them this easy-to-use browser-based remote access to whatever corporate environment and corporate enterprise applications they need. So thank you, everyone, for your time today, and I wish everyone a good summer, and we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you very much.